Let's bring in our political contributor, Chris Uhlmann. Chris, the Prime Minister adamant that this was the right decision and that Isaac Herzog is an honoured guest to this nation. And in a time of division and uncertainty, even within the Liberal Party, we'll get to that in a moment, but this is a bipartisan position. We should mention that Isaac Herzog is a welcome guest to this Parliament.
Well, the invitation was extended by the Prime Minister, and it's a courageous decision given the state of his own party on this. There are plenty of people in the Labor Party at the moment who are opposed to him being here, and I think some of them will be champing at the bit to want to say that. At this stage, we haven't seen much of that. But I wouldn't be surprised if we did see some. So Anthony Albanese's extended the invitation. The President of Israel now deserves the respect of the people of Australia, and people also have a right to protest. I have no issue with that at all.
They do have a right to protest, and if it's done peacefully. There's also the thing that I think has bemused many Australians, and certainly off the back of those ugly scenes in Sydney, is that we also need a level of civility, surely, in this country at a time when members of our Jewish community, not members, all of the Jewish community, continues to mourn the atrocity perpetrated 6 weeks ago in Bondi.
Well, civility is a good word and it's an old word. We should see more of it across the entire spectrum of Australian politics, and it was lost a long time ago, I think. And frankly, look, if we'd seen civility, we wouldn't have seen the protests outside the Opera House days after October 7, 2 years ago. There is a certain group of people in Australia who aren't just pro-Palestine, they are deeply anti-Israel, and I think that's what we're seeing at the moment. These things have been conflated, and it's gone beyond that, though, Kieran. What it's gotten to at the moment, which is the deeply worrying thing, is that Australian Jewish citizens have been targeted before the murders that we saw occur on December 7.
Indeed, and these are pictures coming into us from Yarralumla Government House as the Prime Minister is set to greet President Herzog any moment now. He's just inspected the military guard there on the lawns of Government House where this official greeting is going to take place, and understandably, enormous security, secrecy to an extent, around the measures for this visit. And it's not hard to work out why.
No, unfortunately that has to be the case. But again, I would take you further away from the visit of the President. We're now seeing those security systems put in place. They have done for years now. Outside synagogues in Australia, outside Jewish schools in Australia. I understand why people might be very angry about the pictures that they see coming out of Gaza and might have a beef with the Israeli government. Of course, they clearly don't have a beef with many other governments in that part of the world.
Tehran?
Yeah, exactly. So we don't see any of that. I can understand, though, that they might have a beef. What I think is unforgivable is the fact that this has over the course of the last couple of years, has morphed into an attack on Jewish Australians.
When do Iranian Australians get criticised or attacked for the actions of that appalling regime in Tehran? It doesn't happen.
No, and
it's a massive double standard, isn't it?
But the thing I find which is extraordinary about this particular protest in Australia is that it is a very specific thing. It's an attack on the only democracy in the Middle East, whereas where are the protests, and you see them still a little bit outside the Russian embassy, about what's happening in Ukraine? Where are the protests about what's going on in Somalia, still in Sudan, in the Congo, and as you say, about what the Iranian regime is doing to its own people in mass murders that now are no secret from
tens of thousands.
It seems to be a very selective grievance that we have, and as I say, in the end, it seems to me that what people say at the base of it is true. It is anti-Semitism. They don't like the state of Israel, and they don't like Jewish people.
Let's talk about the mayhem on the Liberal side of politics, and it's this time in politics where they are caught in a death spiral, really, politically, aren't they?
Absolutely. Look, and we are all expecting that sometime after question time today. Now, the timing gets a bit awkward because of the presidential visit, right? So we've got question time, but then Susan Lee is actually meeting the President of Israel. So doubt that they'll be doing anything when that's happening, so they have to wait until after that. The expectation from everyone, you've been reporting it, is that we'll see something after question time today. Let's hope that it's a little bit well organised. Let's hope, that these people can count. They actually do have the numbers if they're going to launch a challenge. And B, we need to see from Angus Taylor some kind of statement about what he stands for and why this just isn't a change of the paint job. I mean, how is he going to be materially different from what Susan Lee's offering at the moment?
The Sky News Pulse conducted by YouGov polling, which Tom Connell's been reporting throughout the morning, is extraordinary reading. When you look at the One Nation vote, up to 28 primary, 2 points behind Labor. So I know it's obviously a massive problem for the Liberals right now, but for Labor, if you've got One Nation, 2 points behind your primary, it's a spike. Maybe it's we won't see it translated at the election, but either way, that's got to rattle some nerves right across the board.
Well, look, the Labor Party actually is exposed. It's got a very low primary vote. So if there was any opposition at the moment, this government would be in deep trouble for lots of different reasons, particularly about what we're seeing happening with interest rates, what we're seeing happening with energy prices, but they're not. And I fear, unfortunately, and Anthony Albanese will certainly know this, with the way our electoral system works, if the Conservative vote fractures badly in each one of these 150 electorates, what we will see is that the preferences will inevitably flow to the Labor Party, and he might come back with a majority of more than 100 seats in the House of Representatives. So what we could see is a complete devastation of everyone on the right, no matter how, if you want to add up the bits and pieces of their primary vote, we might get to 46%. It doesn't add up to a hill of beans if in each electorate you're seeing the preferences flow the wrong way.